Hello, thank you so much for tuning into this channel. I appreciate everybody, all the new subscribers from all over the world, giving me an opportunity to guide you through the daily readings from the Song of God. So what is our divine message today? What does Spirit want to speak through me for you? And I suppose by subscribing to any channels or any readers, we begin to define for ourselves what is value and what we are going to allow to come in through the senses, what we are going to consume here, so that we can rewire some attitudes, so that we can adjust some limiting belief systems, so that we can release the conditioning, and with that, all the burdens that come from living in the systematic 3D reality. And I know that it's just words. It's words because we're still in action and we are still required to do everything we need to do every day. We are responsible to fulfill whatever we need to do by working, by getting that paycheck, and by paying the bills. And there are some that can do that really well. And then there are others, like me maybe, that don't do that so well, or not anymore. I'm 51 years old now. What I've experienced since 2013 when I was in India to now has been a complete purging and renouncing of so many facets of myself, so many facets that were born in fear and projection. So what I've had to value first and foremost is what fuels me, what fuels my desire, what creates the fire in the belly, so to speak, what I'm passionate about. And really what I'm passionate about is serving others. How does that sink in? Because the way I've designed my life, or up until maybe a couple of years ago after lockdown, because I did burn out, designed my life as a bridge or a link, a catalyst for change. And when I look at people, I see potential. And understandably, not everyone is going to fulfill that expectation. But when you're dealing with poor communities and you're trying to be an example, we are stepping out in trust and faith. And that is what I was doing. I have potentially have had the opportunity to save many people. But then I'm also reminded by the patriarchy or some people whose minds are just a little bit more dormant, that no one's going to come and save us. No one's going to come and save you. Is that a very fair statement to make? If Jesus died on the cross to save us? And how can death be so bad if God loves us? We are running two different belief systems simultaneously, and we are trying to shift into a conscious frequency that is going to help us attune to what is our purpose and potential. And we need to know the value of the things that are in the lower vibrational timeline that need to be purged and released. And most of that comes from the mind. And it is regurgitating because of what we're consuming in the senses, what we're watching, what we're listening to. That's the reality of this human system, the body. It loves to take the easy way. It loves to consume all the things that are not so good for us, the things that might help us relax. Yeah. I'm not saying that I'm perfect by any means. I'm human. But I have been called to deliver these messages to you, to be here for you, to create a safe space, to allow your mind to wander and wonder. Because we need to use our imagination, individualized, through whatever contemplative technique you wish to choose. You can pray for the things that you want and need. It could be futile. You could meditate in stillness and empty the mind and feel temporarily relaxed. Or we have to be practical and realistic. And we have to start doing the work to shift from a low vibrational timeline into a higher one, into a frequency that is going to activate what is inside the internal universe. Connection between soul, heart, spirit, all of those light bodies. So will you afford the time to get honest with yourself? If this is where you are in your life right now, if you are willing change, transformation, movement, integration, what is it that you need? Listen, all our wants and needs are going to be entirely different, so I can encourage you to start communicating and commenting with me so that I can channel messages for you so that we can find solutions together. I don't believe that we're supposed to be isolated. Right now, after my return from India, I feel like I'm in a forced isolation. It's cold, wet, raining, sometimes storming outside. But I will most certainly in the future be coming to you from different beautiful natural locations and invitations to other venues. Maybe we can take a journey together. So that value and how you value yourself, how you see yourself, is so important. Because if we can't be authentic and truthful with ourselves, then there is no starting point. Then we are attracting all kinds of things into our reality to teach us a lesson. It might not be a harmful lesson. It might not be wrong, but it will be the long way around. How much time do you want to give yourself? How much time can we give ourselves when, at the rate things are moving now, at the rate of disastrous circumstances that is being vibrated back into the collective consciousness, we are all fighting the spiritual warfare. We're all fighting a battle. I like to pause every now and again just to attune you, for you to be contemplative. I understand that my purpose here is not to confuse you. It's to invite you into stillness so that you can find presence with the self. Okay, let's start today's reading. What is called unmanifested and the imperishable, that they say is the highest goal. They who reach it do not return to this universe. That is the highest abode. That highest Purusa, O Arjuna, is attainable by unswerving devotion to him alone, within whom all beings dwell, and by whom all this is pervaded. Being beyond the intellect and definition, the absolute, eternal Godhead is attainable only by devotion. Faith, love, and total surrender are the only means here. In devotion, faith, love, and total surrender. Doesn't mean running in opposite directions, throwing everything up in the air, doing a 180. We are still responsible. Not intellectuality, reasoning, or ratiocination. Intellect is but a creature of the cosmic dream. Hence it can only lead us further from God, or at best to his threshold. If we make it subserve faith, that is. Devotion is the key which unlocks the gates of eternal truth. I couldn't help but be devoted. I couldn't help being attuned when I was in Rishikesh in India into service, to helping, to giving. Was that saving? Was I saving others? Did I think I was saving myself at the time? Because there's still devotion. That devotion is still there. But here I am, surrendering. I'm just sitting here, feeling like a part of me that is still belonging on a past timeline is rushing forward to help save people that need saving. And I'm I'm encouraged to just wait, be patient, to give myself this time to heal. Wow. Unlocking the gates of eternal truth. Because I am not this body, and I see God in everybody. Wherever you are, whatever you're going through, whatever suffering, just know that there's an internal universe so much more powerful than this, what we have to succumb to. And I pray that if you haven't found that for yourself, that you can find that light that can elevate you, that can help you manifest abundance in all its forms. And we will by this frequency begin to manifest the magic and the miracles that we need. Wow. So much emotion that came up there. Krishna emphasizes again and again that while the seeker ought to do everything possible in his power to do good, to be good, to practice yoga for the purification of the self, the ultimate freedom, Buddhi yoga, the eye of intuition or nirvana can only be God's gift. Yes, it's only by God's grace. We can't take it. Be careful who you serve, because the power to be Christ conscious, God conscious, it's like a flowing river. It wants to empty itself. It wants to surrender. And in that consciousness, in that blissful state where nothing can touch you, nothing can harm you, nothing can hurt you, is a weird sense of detachment and isolation that takes a while to get used to, because most or all of what is happening around us is so connected to this heavy 3D reality that it's on the nervous system can feel like it can't survive in this peace. Why is that? Because we are so used to fighting for everything in the subconscious, fighting to be heard, when really we can just surrender to God's will being done without control. Even the self that demands them, that seeks them, must disappear in the fire of the seeking. The seeker and the sought must become me, one. Not me. The seeker and the sought must become one. Merging in that point when the seeker has nothing more to seek. Yeah. I mean, in the daily routine, when we are forced to be running around, standing in queues, trying to find what we want off the shelves and directions, driving the car. Yeah. In all of that, we've got an operating system running in the back of our mind saying, please give me a break. One stop, pit stop at the nearest the nearest spa. Yeah. I'm not sure when I've actually last paid for myself to have a massage. But I have done many, as I am also a therapist, a masseuse, and an energy healer. So just a little bit of a side story, that I did such an excessive amount of treatments. The beginning of this year, 7 massages within 1 week, on top of a sore forearms and wrists from being overworked at a retreat last year. The guy who employed me to be a kitchen assistant and a yoga teacher and a massage therapist expected me and 1 or 2 other people, crew, to take down 3 bell tents. This happened in the Cederberg. And my arms got so strained that I was in pain for quite a while. He still short paid me on that retreat and told me how disappointed he was in my lack of involvement in takedown, which was absolute rubbish because I pushed myself right to the last. And I'll never do that again. I'll never compromise myself like that again, because it had adverse effects throughout the year on my physical body and being able to do those treatments. Yeah, I don't know why I'm telling you this, but I guess in this surrender that I've had to accept is to not be using my hands and my arms in the same way that I was, and to only be doing energy healing as a form of income for myself, which is a pity, but that is what it is now. We all have to accept when it's enough. And when enough is enough, that is the time you get to take control and power of your life and say no. It could be small little things leading up to the bigger things. So, with nothing more to seek, let's move on. It is then that the sought is revealed or experienced. The seeker is the sought. For the self is non-existent and illusory. God loves tears, the veil of illusion, and removes the distinction between the seeker and the sought. This is the path of devotion, of love, and of self-surrender. Even the Kathopanishad declares that the self cannot be realized by one through much learning, but reveals itself to whom it will. This does not mean that God is whimsical, but the total egolessness is known only by God. This much is certain. Devotion and self-surrender guarantee self-realization. How does something like that enter into the collective? How do we detach enough just to will that first little light, that first seed? So I'm just willing for that first form you can hold anything in your hand. You can look at the palm of your hands. You can acknowledge how vulnerable we are. But you can also acknowledge these hands were made to do great things. What will you do? You have an incredible vessel filled with an internal universe of source energy, powerful force. That light comes through the great gates of the body. The eyes, the ears, the nose, the mouth, and down here, these beautiful gates. So you have everything you need. The divine in me honors the divine in you. Namaste.